Is leaving defense up to police officers rather than arming the population an adequate way to deal with the problems of violent crime?
As a former police officer of 21 years, I would love to say yes, but that would be a lie. As much as police would like to be everywhere at all times to protect citizens, they can't be, and they won't be. Let's use an example. Let's say it's a nice sunny Tuesday afternoon, building 51 at SCSU, an armed gunman walks into the building and opens fire. He gets off 4 or 5 rounds before somebody realizes what's going on. Possibly 4 or 5 students are dead. They're calling 911. 911 is getting overrun with calls by this point. They're dispatching police, it's chaotic. The police don't have all the information. They're trying to get there. They're trying to organize to get into the building. This may take them anywhere from 3 to 10 or 12 minutes to get organized and get in there. Now imagine a gunman walking in there with a couple of guns, several magazines, several bands of ammunition, and opening fire. How many students can die in that 3 to 12 minutes or whatever the span be before law enforcement gets there? Think about that. 50, 60, 70, 80 students could be dead by that time. You are letting these children die in these buildings, or the potential for these children to die in these buildings, by relying on the police to be there at all times. They won't be. The Supreme Court said the police do not have the obligation to defend individual people. They say their police's function is to investigate crimes and arrest criminals. So that leaves the self-defense to the people. Minsky is tying the hands of these students and the faculty by not letting them protect themselves, and they are running the risk of having a mass fatality on their campus if a gunman decided to walk in there, and their response is, we'll rely on the police to take care of it. The police would love to, but they're not going to be able to. And if a police officer were to say to me that we don't need armed citizens, we're the police, we'll take care of it, that police officer is an idiot in my opinion, and I was a cop for 21 years, and I will argue any of them face to face that they are acting ridiculous if they're refusing to accept help from armed citizens, from armed law-abiding citizens. What kind of a fool would not take that kind of help, and what kind of fools run MnSCU that will ban students and faculty from carrying guns and allow the potential for them to die on their campus? It's ridiculous.
Now, when this country was started, just think about it back in those days, we didn't have police departments in every city. It was up to the individual to protect themselves and their families and their property. It was also the responsibility of each individual to protect their neighbor. So if their neighbor was being robbed, it was up to the individual to go and protect the neighbor's house. So that responsibility fell upon the citizens. Now, interestingly enough, it came up in the 80s and it came up again in 2005, but I'll just kind of focus on 2005. The Supreme Court again restated that the right or the responsibility of police departments is not to protect individuals. Their responsibility is to protect society as a whole. So an individual is responsible to protect themselves. This is what the Supreme Court said. They're responsible to protect themselves and their family and their property.